Have you ever looked in the mirror and feel like there's someone missing behind your own eyes? You're functioning, you're present, but you're not really here. You move through your day like a man going through the motions. You respond when spoken to, you smile when you're supposed to. You show up, but some part of you isn't showing up fully. And maybe you can't name it, but you can definitely feel it. You feel like the shell of a man you could be. Hi, I'm Kyle, and today I'm not here to give you hype. I'm here to offer you the one thing most men never get, and that's a real conversation about why you feel so disconnected from yourself and how to get that fire back. In this video, I will uncover 4 things you can start doing right now to rediscover yourself, and the last one is by far my favorite. So let's talk about the disconnection you can't explain. Get honest with yourself. You've done the right things. You've worked hard. You've stayed loyal. You've held it together even when everything inside of you was falling apart. And yet, something's missing. You don't feel proud. You don't feel present. And deep down, you really don't feel like you. That's not laziness. And that's not failure. That's just disconnection. Let's talk about some examples of this and the psychology behind it. In the book The Myth of Normal by Dr. Gabor Mate, he explains how emotional suppression, especially in boys and men, leads to chronic disconnection from the self. So, we're taught early on, don't cry, don't feel, don't be weak, be a man, right? So, what happens? We split. We suppress our emotions to be accepted. We silence our truth to stay safe. And instead of expressing, we just perform. And over time, that suppression just doesn't kill our emotional range. It fractures, our identity. Who we are splits into two. We become what others need, and we forget what we need. Another author that comes to mind is Robert Bly. In his book, Iron John, he writes, where a man's wound is, that's where his genius will be. But most men never access that genius because they were never initiated into who they really are. There was no ceremony, no fire, no moment where, someone just looked them in the eye and said, you're no longer a boy, you're a man now. And here's how to live your life in power. We look at the child to adult transition as just a number, as a celebration for a birthday, but not a celebration of actually coming of age. So, like you go to bed one night at 17, and when you wake up the next morning, you're now 18 and an adult. And for the most part, there is not someone who guides us and holds us accountable as a newly fresh adult. We just have to figure it out along the way. There's no mentorship, no coaching, no real help with how we're supposed to be. Only what was modeled to us growing up and what we absorbed from our environment, right? So instead of having that guidance of what do we do, we guess, we grind, we try to fill that void with, success, sex, status, or validation. But that void is not external. The void is the part of you that was never shown how to become a proper man. The part that's not shown how to lead yourself so you can lead others. Um, the best advice or guidance most of us got was fake it till you make it, right? And that acting, that role that you play, it's what makes you feel hollow. So, what does being a shell feel like? Here's what being disconnected can feel like, right? You smile, but you feel numb inside. You achieve goals, but they don't really move you. You're surrounded by people, but you still feel alone. You talk, but you rarely say what you really mean. Um, you feel angry, but that's just covering up sadness. You feel tired because it's from carrying your emotional armor all day. And if you can relate to any of that, you're not broken, you're just out of alignment. And you're out of alignment with your truth. Another author that comes to mind is David Data. Um, he wrote a passage in one of his books that says, every man knows the feeling of having spent too much time trying to please others, trying to live up to their expectations. So a man must know his direction, or he will feel lost, adrift, and weak. So you feel like a shell because you're not living from your direction. You're living from conditioning. You're living from guilt and from survival. You're leading from reaction, not from creation. And it's costing you your fire. So, what can you do? So, I want to give you something tangible. And this is really how we begin your return. The first thing is to interrupt the role you're playing. Okay, so I'm gonna be real with you for a second. Most of us are acting every single day and we don't even realize it. You've probably been playing the same role for so long, it just feels like your personality. The strong one, the dependable one, the uh the I've got this guy, right? The guy who never complains, never cracks, it never really needs anything from anybody. And maybe that started out as survival. Maybe you had to become that for your family. Maybe you learned that showing emotion got you mocked, or you know, asking asking for help got you ignored. So you really became what was safe. You became what was respected. And over time, you really forgot who you were underneath all of that performance. So now, let me ask you and be honest, right? Who are you performing for? Just think about that. Who are you performing for? And and the other one is you know, what are you afraid would happen if you stopped? Right? Those two. So when you think about that, you know, are you scared because you're afraid that they would leave? That maybe they would see you differently? Because the truth is you can't reconnect with your power if you're always pretending to be someone you're not. But you do have to stop outsourcing your identity to the role you've been rehearsing since you were a kid, right? That's not strength, that's conditioning. And it's costing you your truth. The second one is to reconnect with your body, right? Now, I have spoken about this in my other videos because, yes, it really is that important to understand. You've been living in your head for so long, you probably don't even realize it. You think about, how to fix it. You think about what you should feel. You analyze and then you overanalyze that you're analyzing, and that just creates that loop after loop, you know. But here's the thing about getting into your body. Your body already knows what your mind is trying to figure out. You want your fire back? Get still. Seriously. Just sit for 5 minutes. No phones, no distractions, no trying to figure it out. Just clear your head and breathe. When you're doing that, what are you feeling? Where in your body do you feel it? What is your body telling you that you've been ignoring? So like your body is holding all the stuff that your mind has been avoiding. That tension that you feel in your jaw, that heaviness in your chest, the presence in your shoulders, that's not random. That's just unspoken emotion. And really that's stored truth, your stored truth. And the more you avoid it, the more disconnected you'll stay. But the moment that you feel it is the moment you stop numbing it and just sit with yourself. That's when the real healing starts. Not from a book, not from a podcast, but just from pure presence. Hey, just a brief interruption from your video to tell you about a fantastic opportunity. Do you ever feel like you're doing the work, but nothing's actually shifting? Like you're journaling, meditating, watching all the videos, but still circling the same patterns. It's not because you're broken. It's because the shift doesn't happen in isolation. You don't need more information. You need activation. The Inner Shift Society is the space where that happens. 2 1-hour calls a month live on the second and fourth Tuesday. One call to learn and one call to coach. For just $17 a month, you're not just joining a group, you're stepping into momentum. We get into real work. This is belief rewiring. This is about nervous system work, decision making, identity, and ownership. Now, this would normally cost you $500 for 2 hours with me. I'm not going to make you pay $500 though. I am offering this because I want to help and reach more people that know there is something more. People like you, and you just don't know where to start. This this is your entry point. You're one shift away from who you've been trying to become. This is your space to make it real. Come join other like-minded people much like yourself. Click the link in the description and join us inside the Inner Shift Society. And now, back to our video. So, the third one, create something that's yours, right? If you want to start feeling like you again, stop consuming and start creating. Most men feel hollow because they're always reacting to life, but never really expressing from within. You go to work, you follow the routine, you scroll, you react, you absorb, but what are you producing from your soul? Now, I'm not talking about grinding for money or building a brand. I'm talking about building something that feels real, something that wakes you up and really lights your soul on fire. Write something, lift something, go work out, fix something, start something. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay? So perfection does not exist. Okay? It doesn't exist. So just get that out of your head. Okay? It what I'm talking about doesn't have to be profitable, but it really just has to be yours. So like as for me, right, I like to woodwork and do home renovations, right? Nothing big or grand, just small things that keep me busy and my mind clear. Now, when you create something that's yours, even if nobody else sees it, you will. And in that moment, you remember that you're still alive. You're not just a consumer, you're not a machine, but you're a man that, you know, you're a man, and that means that you were built to build. You were created to express, to move, and to lead. And and really that brings us to our final piece and my favorite one. Find a brotherhood. Okay, so let me hit you with the most dangerous lie most men believe. I know that most men believe this because I used to. The belief that I've got this on my own. And hey, you might, right? You might survive on your own, but you won't become better on your own. Isolation is where all of your potential goes to die. Because when you're alone with your thoughts, no reflection, no challenge, no brotherhood, like it's just it's easy to drift back into that old loop that doesn't serve you. You start second guessing, you start numbing, you start shrinking back. You really need other men in your life who see you, men who won't let you hide. Men who will ask you those hard questions and won't let you lie to yourself. And I'm not talking about competition, definitely not ego, just truth, support, and respect. So I'm a part of a fast growing group in my community. We meet at least once a week, and everybody just holds space for our fellow brothers. The man that put this together, he's really a good dude. He cares for his fellow brothers like we are blood, and you really can feel it from him. You know, that kind of person is rare, especially these days. You know, that's really rare. So when you find someone like that, hang around with them. You might just be surprised what you learn if you're willing to pay attention. Now, I want you to go away today with this. The shell of a man starts to crack the moment he's surrounded by men who remind him of who he really is. So, if you've been walking this alone, let today be the day you stop. You don't need to be fixed, you just need to be witnessed. Now, that doesn't make you weak, that makes you wise. And if you feel like the shell of a man you could be, it's not because you failed. It's because no one ever showed you how to come back to yourself. You've spent so long surviving. Now it's time to remember how to live thriving. You're not too far gone. You're not behind. You're just waking up. And that version of you that you keep dreaming about, he's not fantasy. He's just a memory. And he's you without the armor. So if this landed with you, give me a thumbs up and share with a fellow brother that might need to hear this. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you're notified whenever I release a new video. I also have free resources below that will help you start rebuilding from the inside out. Tools that work, built for men just like you. So hit subscribe for yourself, grab the tools, and reach out. Give me a follow on social media too. Links are in the description. Remember, you're not broken, you're becoming. I will see you on the next video. Stay strong, brother.